What's going on? It's the Great White Stoke coming from the Great West Coast. Let me go ahead and apologize, guys, for the road noise. We're in the Subi, and we've got some all-terrain tires on her. And she's a little loud, but she gets around all right. Continuing on the discussion of domestic disturbances in the United States and how that would play out. Let's get just down to the population on both sides and what I've seen from myself. Both sides are woefully ill-equipped for any type of skirmish. You know, just as an aside, when a third of ICE applicants can't even do the basic PT test to get into the agency is laughable. And what is that? I think you have to do 20 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, and run 1.5 miles. I saw it firsthand with the California Corrections Department. They had to give extra time for people to pass the physical assessment. And it was just 2 weeks ago, I was out in Fort Worth for a full week, and my Lord, everybody is just packing a spare tire. Even the homosexuals out there. I mean, say what you want about California faggots. At least they're holding it down, going to the gym, staying svelte. And then when you consider left and right, the leftoids have covered themselves in tattoos and piercings, which, tactically speaking, you don't want big holes in your ears. Those are just prime targets for ripping an ear off. And then the same on the right side. Sleeves of tattoos, a beard, and a beer gut make not for being tough. And I don't know what happened, but everyone, I shouldn't say that everyone, but broad brush speaking, everyone has become a poser. And I saw this firsthand in Alaska. You know, you go up to Alaska and you always get this from the people up there. You know, Alaska is the last place for freedom. You know, it's a freedom state. And their idea of freedom is being able to go in, buy a gun, and walk out the same day. But when you start asking people, hey, where can I buy raw milk? Oh, that's outlawed. Not only that, you get up to Alaska and there's just a ton of anti-California prejudice. And who is it coming from? Just beer-bellied, duck commander beard-wearing dudes living in town in some suburban tract housing, while a Californian's literally living off-grid and in much better shape physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that stuff. You know, there's a reason why there's high rates of suicide up in Alaska, because everyone's miserable up there in a lot of ways. When you have to be stuck inside for 6 months out of the year. But I digress. Both sides are not prepared for any type of civil skirmish. And I've said it before, civil war, don't threaten me with a good time. Civil war, it ain't happening until the spigot of 24/7 chicken nuggets gets cut off. When people are no longer able to go get their Totino's pizza rolls and be able to panic buy tater chips and Pepsi, you might see something. But for the most part, all of this division is very artificial. It's very artificial. It's being blown up, and it's not organic. You know, you got the left that are being funded by Riot Incorporated, the always offended industrial complex, where they want to point the finger at fascism while they want to use the levers and the apparatus to make you bend to their will. Dudes are chicks, and they can go ahead and go in the bathrooms and compete against very real women. Team turf is a bad thing, but it's always interesting how it's the dude looks like a lady wants to compete against the women. You never see the women cutting off their tits and getting a fake dick and wanting to compete against men. Because women inherently know that, for the most part, they can't compete against men in many fields beyond having a baby and breastfeeding. And then on the right, you have all of the tough guy posers standing around with their black rifles, woefully out of shape, making videos that they need snacks and supplies sent for their standoff with the federal government. And really, the system is hoping that the peasants squabble amongst themselves, and then the government, the feds, will align themselves with the people that they think are going to come out on top. And even further, when you think about it, what's going on right now, it's going to be place your bets. Who's going to win? The millions of marginalized people who've been getting handouts and have empty bellies and feel very entitled to getting a free paycheck, versus the people that have warm beds and a place to go to. Because from my perspective, the left is much more organized than the right. The right are a group of very deracinated people who are not quick to get out of bed to go cause some type of strife or get into trouble because they have something to lose. The left is able to do what they're able to do because they've got a system in place that doesn't punish them. And so what we've been seeing is a frog in the pot. The water's been gradually turned up, and here we are. It's boiling, and they want us squabbling not only with heritage Americans and their leftoid offspring, but all of the foreigners that have been allowed to come here. The Jeets, the Chinks, the Spics, choose your racial epithet, right? And to be fair, I don't hate any of those people. They shouldn't be here. That's the whole thing. These aren't bad people. If you've done any traveling and stayed long enough in a tourist place so that you could see how the people who are working the hotels are living, like, say, Cabo San Lucas, you realize why people are desperate to get over here, because there's this notion that you can have a better life, and you can. We have a working road system, and for the most part, a government system that works, and there's free school and all that, and all these handouts. But they don't belong here, and their children who are born here definitely do not deserve to have any type of citizenship. And when you look historically at how this country was built, the whole notion that, immigrants built this place, we're a melting pot, that's a whoish idea that was promoted in the early 1900s. It was all Anglos and Europeans that built this country. In fact, there was a very real constitutional amendment that was like, I believe, I can't quote you the number, but or the byline, but it was only Europeans and Anglos were allowed to come here. And so when people talk about a potential civil disturbance, that's noob stuff, and you don't even understand how much propaganda you're under. And the basic gestalt is that what we are experiencing collectively is narcissistic abuse, and narcissists love to use triangulation and flying monkeys. And if it was truly hopeless, there would be no need for their propaganda. And so one way to win in this day and age is to gray rock the narcs, focus on yourself, and stop gooning out to the news and looking for an echo chamber. Sure, you can read the news and have a passing interest in what's going on, but you're not getting the news. You're getting a carefully curated viewpoint on both sides, and everything has been commodified. When it came out that what Facebook was doing, right? Let's not talk about the censorship for a moment. Let's not talk about like the dopamine hits from social media. What was the conclusion that they came to? The Indian guy that was like their CEO, and he got out. He admitted as much, that their whole idea, oh, there's a dog running on the side of the road. Oh, that's a Doberman. Oh, what are you doing out here, Doberman? You're too good of a dog. Shit, I can't stop. Oh, I hope he didn't fall off the back of a truck. The whole entire point of Facebook is to get as much of your conscious focus and attention. That's what it's all about. They don't want you critically thinking or doing your own thing. No, they want you focused on what other people are doing, and to make you feel, all right, good, that dog went somewhere. Okay, that dog is going, no, there's a house over there. All right, get home, dog. They want you focused on everything else but what you're doing. And you and your life is much more important than getting in echo chambers and getting riled up about a situation that you have no power over. You know, at some point, the serenity prayer of God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And also the whole like prepper thing, you're just living in fear. And it's a poverty mindset, really, because there's so much abundance. There's so much good out there. You know, I recall when I was in Southern California for a quick minute, I had no problem with black people. Sister Crystal next door was never saying kill Whitey. When I get around Mexicans, they're family oriented. Hell, my neighbors were full-on illegals, and what were they doing? They were inviting us over for dinner, and their fiestas, their quinces, the bodas, right? What do white people do? Man, white people, man, they stick to themselves. If you don't go to the right church, you ain't part of their group. If you don't dress like them and listen to country music, I mean, white people are divided over what kind of truck they're going to buy. The whole Chevy and Ford debate. I mean, good Lord, Chevy and Ford can't even build a quality product, and yet they're like leaning on Americans and flying that American flag of pride like a rock. Chevy can't build shit right now, which is why I drive a Toyota, because at least the Japanese have Kaizen, and they're like, you know, they have some sense of honor and civic pride and national pride in their country. And right now, what do you see happening right now? The globalists are going after the Japanese. And they've been filling their country very slowly under the auspice that, oh, Japanese people aren't procreating, they need people. So they're sending in Malaysians and all these other Southeast Asian people. And what's happening now? Crime. And the Japanese don't know how to handle it because they've had such a safe country for generations. So I'll leave you with that. I hope you guys are well. 2 videos in a row. You can tell that I am mouthy and have an opinion about certain things, but I hope you guys are well. See if you can find some raw milk. Get your thyroid health in order. Do some detox, stay away from sugar, and yeah, white positivity and heritage Americans. Americans have lost their brotherhood. They need to redevelop it. Be well.